What's going on, people? I want to first take the time out to give a shout out to all of my new subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. Whether you agree with me or not, I appreciate the support. Quickly, I want to deal with these people that keep commenting on the video, especially the Akon videos and the ones dealing with the Africans from the continent that trash black Americans, that feel that they can say things and black Americans or so-called black Americans are supposed to sit idly by and say nothing. Just let it go. Stop complaining. Stop feeding into what Akon says. Now, I understand that there's Africans out there that don't agree with Akon and people like Akon. But you have to understand that the so-called black Americans are fighters. We're natural fighters. And even if you look back in history during the so-called slave trade, there were a lot of our so-called ancestors that lost their lives because they refused to be taken into captivity. So many of them had lost their lives coming over here to the Americas. So for you to come to what they now call a free nation that was built on the backs, the blood, the sweat, the tears of the so-called black Americans, now for you to come here and say just ignore what people like Akon says, stop complaining, stop playing the victim, for you to come over here now and enjoy these freedoms that are as a result of the so-called black Americans, as you say, being petty, because you got people that commented and said that I was being petty. Well, pettiness is what got you over here. The pettiness of the so-called black Americans are the ones that prepared the way. The pettiness of black Americans gave you the opportunity to come here and enjoy the quote-unquote freedoms and the money-making opportunities that you're able to do. Because there was a time where, blacks, Native Americans, anyone that was not white was treated as third-class citizens, weren't even given the rights to be a human, couldn't drink out of the same water fountain or use the same bathroom, and if you came inside a building, you had to go through the back door, right? So for you to say that black Americans should just let it go, we don't let it go. We're fighters. And being a fighter is what gave you the freedoms to come here in America and tell the so-called black Americans to just let it go. And maybe y'all should learn to be petty too. Maybe y'all should learn to be fighters and stop letting things go in your own homeland. Because you sit by and just let it go, let the colonizers and all these other nations come over there and do what they want to do, and you sit back and do nothing. They rape the land, and you're still on the bottom. You're now having to leave your birthplace and go to other nations and be discriminated against to try to make more money, to try to make it, to survive. And it shouldn't be that way, right? You should be able to enjoy your homeland, your birthland, just like those from other nations are able to do, right? So stop telling the so-called black Americans to let it go, because we can't let it go. The so-called black Americans are fighters. They're fighters. And I respect a fighter. And not just sit back and just let people run over you. We come a long ways, but we still got a long ways to go. So stop telling black Americans to just let it go and move on. and ignore people like Akon. No, 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 no. We're going to address people like Akon. Again, that's what got you here in America, because the so-called black Americans just didn't let things go. So feedback, tell me what you think. Till next time. I'm fearless.